You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Teen Mom 2 After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Teen Mom 2 After Show.
Teen Mom 2 After Show. Wrong! Not Teen Mom 2, but doesn't matter because it's all about Teen Mom. Anyway. Marissa Movies, she's going to be right on top of that road. She can correct. Hello and welcome. Bing is for doing it. We are doing another episode of Teen Mom. I was going to say another exciting episode of Teen Mom, but Isabel doesn't think this one was exciting, which we're going to let her expound upon right now in just a minute. I am your regular 16 and pregnant and teen mom and soon to be awkward host,
Yay.
Ed Bowling. And we also have...
Isabel Mora.
Okay.
Hi,
and
I'm back.
Isabel, you're going to be joining us for Awkward next week?
Maybe.
Maybe. Oh,
No, of course.
See, before we had a commitment, now she changed. That's okay. That's okay. Isabel, you were just not really excited about this episode of Teen Mom. Or is it, what is it? Is it Teen Mom in general? Because we're you know, what?
I'm a huge fan of Teen Mom.
Well, we are both.
I just feel so far, like 1, 2, 3 are fillers for season 3. It's kind of like they expected to have this, update for all of us, and we're all sitting here, and I'm hoping I'm not the only one that feels this way, watching this like, okay. Okay. I mean, there's nothing, and I think what really ruins it is that we know
a lot
everything
already.
about Amber.
Yes.
And so watching it is just kind of like fake to me. Just knowing what the end of it is so far, so it's sad to watch the process of how she gets there. But when you do see her or her counselor say you're doing great, it's kind of like you can't even get excited.
Yeah, because we know, okay, doing great right now for this show, right now for 5 minutes, but later we know.
Right, and then I know that we've seen previews for the entire season. There, at some point, we do see that her and Gary are actually going to try to work it out, or they make us believe.
Yeah.
But we all know, I mean, she's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this episode is episode 3?
Yeah.
I totally thought.
2.
Oh, that's right, because there was 2 in 1. I'm thinking
right,
second week. So this is episode 3 called The Places You'll Go. And we talked about that before. We talked about the fact that, how does the fact that the tabloids followed these girls like crazy. They're on the cover of magazines, and we're going to talk about some of it's true, some of it's not. But they follow them so closely, and they film the reality show like normal, and then they show it months after because they edit it and they as they should. But it's like, how does it affect it when we know so much about what's going to happen? Now, I can see your perspective on how it kind of messes it up. But I also, I find like, it's almost like I feel more, you know how when you watch a movie, you don't know what's going to happen at the end? And so you constantly thinking, instead of just sitting and watching a movie, you're constantly thinking, okay, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? That's what I feel like is missing when I'm watching the Teen Mom. And so then I feel more free to sort of, I mean, you can't really say you enjoy watching Amber's story because it's bad, but I feel more relaxed when I watch the show. Like, the whole stuff with Ryan and Macy and them being jealous. And, and we've seen Ryan in the news with lots of girls. So it's not like it's fake, it's real. We know what's going on. And then with Amber, we know she's going to go to prison. So I kind of sit back and go, wow, it's amazing to me that she was having these huge ups and downs. And she was actually trying. Like at one point she was in rehab and she was missing her daughter and she was scared. Like it's such a different thing.
when you say missing her daughter, I think we have different views on that as well. Because I
that's true.
Don't agree with that, but and you know, maybe MTV is getting us ready for the best to come. Still, the next episodes to come. But this is the 3rd season, so I'm sure they're gonna end it. They have to. I'm hoping.
Well, no,
with the big ending.
I just heard the doorbell. Did you hear it?
Oh, no, Ed.
Well, she was complaining. Isabel was complaining that I rang the doorbell when I came to the studio, and I was telling her that they can't hear it, blah, 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 but I just heard it. So I was giving her a chance to be right. I was being nice.
Okay, but...
Anyway. No, the thing is, like, when I'm watching the Amber story, like you heard me say it, because we watched together today, you rewatched, when Amber was saying, oh, but Gary, I'm just so scared she's going to forget me, you know, talking about Leah.
Right.
And so then I'm then sitting there going, well, you think she's going to forget you now? In a few months, you're going to be like, Judge, send me to jail for 5 years.
Yeah,
She definitely, you know, it's like, you know, we're watching it and I'm amazed at what is in the world is going to happen to make her change from worried about this to just being willing to say, you know what, forget it. Like things must be really going to get bad for her herself.
Okay, so do you want to start with Amber?
Okay, let's start with Amber.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, we usually save Amber for last, but I think, So tell me about, and then we'll talk about play-by-play, Amber missing her daughter.
Oh, right, because I wasn't here last week to share my
No. Yeah. I mean, how you feel about it.
Okay, I don't believe, genuinely, when I watch this show and I see her cry, I don't even see tears come out. First of all, and I just see her pause and turn away and make her face like, oh, something hurts, and then say, I miss her. And I know when I mentioned it to you, you thought maybe it's because she's so medicated that she can't, you know, she probably can't even express emotions. I just don't feel it from her. Yeah. I don't think it's genuine. I feel like this is her knowing she's on the show, and maybe she knows that part of the show, Amber's a huge reason. So she wants to say, I miss her, but I don't feel it. Yeah. I don't feel it. I don't see it. It's, you know, it's totally different. Like Maci, the minute, you know, her baby's going for a weekend, she's already freaking out. Like, I can't be without him, you know? And it's genuine. Yeah. From Amber, I just don't feel it.
Well, you know what? I totally agree. When you look at her and you watch her facial expressions, and you know what? It's not like we don't know her. We've seen enough of her over the years where we feel like, you know, we kind of know how she is. I agree with you, but I find myself trying to make excuses for her. Like, oh, you know what? That's probably the medication. Or even I think, well, she's bipolar and she can be detached. But you know what? You're right. She knows that the cameras are there, and she knows what a mom is supposed to act like. And so she may be just doing it, even though she doesn't feel it, may just be doing it because that's what she knows the mom is supposed to do. I think that's entirely possible. In this show, this episode, it might have even started with Amber, but the first part of Amber's story, we see Gary basically trying to talk to the lawyer, trying to arrange for him and Leah to be able to go see Amber in Malibu. But you know, he knows he can't because of all the restraining orders and all the tons of reasons why he can't go see her. But he's trying. He talks to the lawyer, and then he talks to Amber on the phone. And this is something that I don't understand. To me, I don't know. I guess everybody's got those toxic or poison relationships or whatever. But I remember before she went to rehab, when they were on the bench, and this is last week, when they were on the bench and talking, and she was just so like, and yeah, she was all stressed out because she was going to go to rehab, but she was just so I can't stand you, Gary. You know, and people wonder why I punched you in the face. And I'm like, and he was angry, and he stood up for himself. He said, you just need to leave because you're stressing me out. Then he picks up the phone. He's like, hey, baby. And I'm going, dude, who are you hey babying? You and this girl, no, you don't have it like that right now.
Well, okay, so then I want to know what you felt, you know, before he calls her. We hear her counselor, or what is it, social worker, not even a counselor, JJ, who is getting involved between this, and it's conversating with Amber and trying to find out, how do you think you guys are going to work out? Do you think, you know? Oh,
okay. Well, no, I'm talking about the first call was Gary telling her, and he said, I can't come this weekend, maybe next weekend. She said, why can't you come this weekend? But you're talking about later after she talked to JJ, but that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, because my only comment when he talked to her first was that Amber looked totally drugged on the first call, but then later, the next scene we see Amber is when she's talking with JJ, the caseworker, and he's saying, "How do you feel? This has, the rehab has been, has it been helping you?" And she's remember 100%, right? And he said, "Why?" And so, go ahead. What's your question about that?
Oh, I was saying, so, because it goes back to what you were just explaining right now about how you see Amber just dislike him, and I mean even hate him, and Gary just always the same old dude that he is, just walk away. I mean, at least this time he gets up and says, "You just need to go. Like, I can't deal with this." But here we see the social worker and Amber blaming Gary for a lot of Amber's problems.
I mean, especially when the brother gets on the line?
Especially when, and that's another person. But before they even get on the phone, social workers trying to push her into, so do you feel like Gary plays a big part in how you're acting and how you're medicating?
Oh, that's right.
And she's like, yeah, I mean, but maybe this time's going to be different.
Right. She said, Gary has hurt me more than anybody.
And I'm like, did we miss all of that on Teen Mom 1 and 2? Because we've always rooted for Gary. He is one of the dads that no matter how many problems he had with her, always had his little girl. He's walking out the door, she's beating him, and he's carrying his daughter. He's never let go of Leah. And I can never say that Gary affected her in any way unless
maybe
I need a
there's
psychologist to come and tell us that we're wrong.
I don't know. Maybe it's something we didn't see, like you said.
He's blindsided us.
But then also, Amber, God, the one from last week where, I just, the way she talked to him as soon as she got near him, the way she dealt with Gary, it was just so dismissive and so rude.
Always.
And I was just like, dude, why are you trying to work anything out with him if you don't like the guy this much? And Gary, why are you trying to work everything when every time you guys get together? I mean, can we see the good part? Where's the good part where you guys hug and kiss and are nice?
Something.
Where is it?
Something.
Because I understand they feel bonded together because of their daughter, and they probably both of them for some reason don't want to give up the idea of totally not being together. And maybe it's because they're young and they have this idea, well, but it's the daughter and I don't want to go back and forth and I don't like this. I want to just be with my daughter all the time. And so for that reason, we're going to be together. I don't know. I would kind of like to hear what they have to say about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think most of the times that's what happens in teenage relationships where it's always the mom that wants to stay with the boyfriend and live that, theory of happy ever after. But in this case, Gary is all for it. He does not want to let go. Well,
and so back to that conversation with the caseworker. Oh my God, the brother gets on the phone. And that brother, which you told me he's older and more established and got married and kids and all that.
He was, on the last season, we see them go on vacation with the brother and I think brother's wife. And it's one of the worst vacations. They are fighting the entire time. They almost drive back home after they arrive there because it's horrible. And it's Amber the whole time. So brother's like, okay, you guys, like, we're here.
The brother says, the caseworker asks some general question like, hey, what do you think of Amber's life or something? And he goes, look, man, the problem is she stays in the same place. She's still in that same city in Indiana. She's around the same people that she's got her into trouble. She's with the same dude that is trying to control her and telling her even, look, Gary wants to make you a child and control you. Right. And, and like.
Do you see that?
No, we don't see that. We do not see that. In that and her saying Gary's hurt me worst of all, and what the brother's saying is making both of us think, okay, there must be something big that happens when the cameras are not there between Gary and Amber that we don't know about.
And not to mention, we also hear the social worker ask the brother, she's trying to remember a few things that she seems to be blocking. So what happened when she was a child with her mom and her dad? And there's a lot there. We don't even know. We never even see her family members anymore. We used to see her dad for a little bit. I know he was sick. I don't know if he has gotten better, if he survived. I know it was gotten very bad. Yeah. But we don't know what the story is, and we do hear the social worker ask the brother, we're trying to help Amber remember, go back to those hurtful events. Can you help her?
She
But
started
again,
to cry,
we don't
yeah.
hear anything.
Well,
It all goes to poor Gary.
yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, and we also wonder, is he just the, you know, the one that's there so he gets blamed for everything?
Right.
And Amber is trying to defend her attempts to reconcile with Gary, to her brother, and to the caseworker, saying, but we want to work it out. And the dude's like, how long have you been wanting, the brother?
Yeah.
You've been wanting to work it out a long time. How many times? It's too much. And then she's like, but I've got help this time. And he says, and I was kind of shocked when he said this. He said, no amount of help is going to fix that, Amber. You need to go away. You have to not be there. And, you know, I think that, you know, it's sort of real that she's like thinking, well, that's going to make it really difficult for me to have a relationship with my daughter.
Right.
Right. Because obviously her dad is not going to totally let go of her. And if we're out of there and, you know, if I'm out of there and Gary's not, then how's that going to work?
You think she thinks that far?
Well, I do. I don't think she always says it. But yeah, I think that I think Amber hyper focuses on a lot. I think she thinks a lot more than she talks about. And I think that when her brain starts to go and think about all this stuff, she gets overwhelmed and she comes out in anger. I think the reason why Amber's family is not involved and we don't see him is because Amber's really difficult to be in a relationship with of any kind.
Of any kind, right.
It's difficult to be
But
anything with her.
That's why it bothered me that the brother keeps saying all this. And I mentioned this to you. You have to be honest. She is sick. And they never say, Amber, you can't be with Gary because you need to go and get help.
Right. They blame Gary.
You need to go get help. And it doesn't matter how much time or how much help you're getting right now. You're not ready.
Right.
You know, let the sick person know you're sick. You need help.
Yeah.
We don't know what time frame, but we know it doesn't involve another person in it.
And think about how difficult it must be. The daughter is there. Leah is already there. It's not like you can say, oh, okay, you know what? I'm going to put my daughter's life on hold. I'm going to stop her from growing, make her freeze, and then I'm going to go take as much time as I need to fix myself so I can come back and be a good mom. Guess what? You have to go fix yourself, even though your daughter's going to grow and you're missing her right now.
Right.
Because if you go back too soon, it's going to be bad. You're going to ruin it for sure. So, I mean, that is a huge...
And then the story repeats.
Yeah.
Whatever she went through with her parents, now Leah's going through it with her.
Oh man, I mean, but imagine the huge concept that is for her, and to just not want to have to accept it at all, you know. And that's so. And we know that what she's gonna end up doing is, you know, becoming addicted to some medication that is prescribed, I think, and violate her probation doing something, and then recently, and she was before the judge and said, Judge, rehab is not going to help me. I don't want it. I want to do my time, my 5 years, or the remainder of my 5 years, and serve my time in jail. Like that, to her, maybe she got to such a rock bottom place that is the only thing left. Like, just lock me up so I can't hurt myself or anybody else. You know, just very sad, very sad, very desperate. She described Gary as hopeful. We already talked about that. And the brother said your relationship with Gary is toxic.
You need to move on.
Yeah. So.
And then we hear Gary call her.
Yeah.
And it's so perfect the way they play this out. It's right when she's heavily medicated, by the way.
Oh God, she's
sitting
holding
there
the phone.
heavily medicated. She can barely hold the phone.
Yep.
And you know, some viewers that don't know much about drugs would probably think she was just really sad. No, this girl is so medicated.
Yeah.
And Gary calls right when he's frustrated too. He's this young dad that is taking on this baby by himself because mom has made it very clear, you know, his mom has made it very clear that she's not there to help. She's there to support a little bit, but that's it. Like, what are you going to do now? You can't even work because you're taking care of Leah.
He doesn't even have room to be the frustrated dad. He doesn't have room because it's like, you know what, if you're with your baby's mom and you could be young, but then if you really are getting fed up, then you could say, hey, can you take care of the baby for a while? I'm gonna go,
or you just leave because you know she's there.
Yeah, or whatever.
Here,
you need a break. No break for him. He calls her, and he's disciplined. He's got her in timeout, and the baby's just trying to eat the cake or something. And he's like, he's like, Leah, stop it.
No more cake.
And Amber can hear, and I was just, this is where maybe you and I disagreed, but I was like, Dude, Gary should have realized, in my opinion, you don't expose the mom who's in rehab to that. I didn't like it that he was like on the phone, you know, and then telling Amber, look, I'll be really glad when you get out of rehab so you can come and handle your daughter because I am just overwhelmed and I'm fed up of dealing with her all the time. She's stressing me out. And even Amber, drugged and in rehab, is like, Gary, she's 2. Gary, she's 2.
Yeah.
And she kept on saying it. You know, and he's probably got to deal with the stresses, and Marissa Movies has prompted me, but he's got to probably deal with the stresses of all the stuff he has to buy, and he may be going to Amazon. So speaking of buying stuff and Amazon, we would like to remind you, our listeners and viewers, that everybody here is volunteer. Everything here is done just because we love watching the show. We're fans of the shows. We love talking about them. And one way that you, our viewers and listeners, can help us to keep things running along like they are is by giving money, but you don't have to actually give your own money. You can, if you buy things on Amazon, you can actually get donations made to AfterBuzz by going, before you go shop on Amazon, you can go to AfterBuzzTV.com. There's a banner right there on the homepage. You click on it. It says Amazon. You click on it, and then it takes you to Amazon, where at that point you can log in, you can use your Prime account, you can buy all the things that you want to buy, and then some of the proceeds go to us without raising the price of your items. And by just doing that, a couple extra clicks, you help out and support AfterBuzz TV. So if you would do that, we appreciate it. So our next girl, I'm gonna say Farrah for last. I'm gonna say Farrah for last because we had her in the studio not too long ago. And I'm sure we're going to talk about that.
You're just being nice.
Of course I'm going to be nice because you're going to be mean. Or is it not mean? Is that the wrong word?
It's not mean, Ed.
You're going to be real?
Right.
Okay. You are real. I give you credit. You are very real. Okay, so Caitlyn and Tyler.
Why are you laughing already?
I'm laughing because you think he's so hot or cute, whatever you want to say, what's appropriate.
I'm sorry. Unlike you, I don't think 16-year-olds are hot.
Oh, now, on camera, no.
He's so cute.
Okay, well, I said cute,
I always say cute, and you're like, oh my God, you think he's hot. No, Ed, he's 16. I don't think like that.
Okay,
well,
he's not 16 anymore.
20?
Yeah. Oh, can he be hot now?
Everyone's 20, except for Farrah, apparently.
Yeah, we haven't figured out Farrah's age yet. We know she's 21, we just don't know when she was born.
Right.
No offense, Farrah. It's not our fault. It's the internet that just, there's discrepancies.
To give different dates.
Yes. So anyway, so we've got Caitlyn and Tyler, and we're always impressed with Tyler because he came from such troubled area, But the opening portion is them talking about their graduation, their high school graduation. They're excited, which I swear I'm confused about this because a little bit for Tyler because he's already started college.
Right.
Like, how long? Did he finish high school early? Is that what happened?
Yeah, he finished high school early, but he doesn't get to do his graduation by himself. So he just
because
goes
he
on,
finished early.
Right, all credits, everything.
Okay.
Which is impressive.
Yeah, very.
So he has been going to college. That's really whatever show's going on in the other room.
Yeah. We have a viewing room. We can hear it. Yes.
But then, he's done. So now it's time for graduation. So he gets to come back and graduate with his fiance.
Caitlyn.
Oh, right. Fiance now.
They have a ring.
Sorry.
So, no, but like when they're well, first of all, they're talking about, is Butch going to be out of jail in time? Because he's back in jail because he tried to, talk to Caitlyn's mom and he wasn't supposed to. So that broke his probation. And Tyler is like, you know what? I'm expecting him to not be there so that if he's not, I'm not disappointed. If he is, then it's a surprise and it's great. We find out later that he's getting out the day after they graduate or something like that. But the confusion I was talking about was like, okay, so they were talking with their friends, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but they were talking with their friends, and Tyler actually said, yeah, he goes, I remember being in the 5th grade thinking I'm never going to graduate high school. And I'm just thinking, wow, what must his life have been in the 5th grade to think I'm not going to make it through high school? I mean, I've never in my life thought I'm not going to graduate high school. My whole time, I never thought that. Did you ever think that?
No, but I also, you know, it's just like watching their parents now. And I don't think they ever changed.
Right.
If anything, they've gotten better now. So
right.
we can think
so it must have been bad. That's what I'm saying.
And don't forget Caitlyn's little brother. That was them. That was them. Whenever we see Caitlyn's little brother, who she used to take care and watch all the time.
I remember that.
That was them. Except there was no one to watch them because they don't have older siblings. So that was little Caitlyn and little Tyler with, I mean, I can't even say crackheads. Are they crackheads?
They definitely look like I mean, I'm sure that.
Butch, probably, maybe because he's been caught. But
and
like
the mom too.
Yeah. And so back then, because now they seem normal.
So, well, what I'm saying is that for a 5th grader to think, oh my God, I'm never going to make it to high school, that is really a reflection on what his life must have been like, what his parents must have been like. I mean, you know, we always compliment Tyler on how he's like really mature and responsible.
Extremely.
Right? And it's probably because he had to do it on his own for so long.
Yeah, and deal with mom and dad and maybe no dad at the time since he's always in and out of jail.
Yeah.
You know, and we know Tyler's mom has always been very supportive because she's the one that's always had both Caitlyn and Tyler.
Yeah.
We haven't seen her much this season.
No, we haven't. But you know what? And it could be that I mean, I don't want to say MTV only puts people on there that are like have a lot of drama, but it's like, you know what? In some ways, when everything is perfect, it's not really interesting. Right. I mean, remember, we already question all the time, why is Caitlyn even on the show? Right. Because she's not a teen mom. Right. You know? Right. But I think the reason it works is because we get to see, since there's 4 girls, we get to see what sort of each thing is like, meaning if Farrah had put her baby up for adoption, then maybe this is what it would have been like. Or, you know, not Farrah because the baby daddy passed away, but one of the other girls, you know, we see the different ones. We've got a good sort of sampling of 4 different lifestyles. 1, adoption. 1, baby daddy passed away. 1, the ex is still totally involved. And then 4, and then 1, there is like drugs and violence, and they're still trying to work it out. Because if you think about it, the only ones with a baby that are trying to work it out are Amber and Gary. Right. You know, and Caitlyn and Tyler are together, but no baby. And then Farrah, no man, baby. And then Maci, you know, new man, baby. So it's all different. It's, you know, it kind of makes it interesting. But so, you know, the whole thing for them is about graduation this time, and Caitlyn goes to see her mom. Right. Right. And talks to her mom. I mean, you know, her mom had to say, I forget what she had to say about Butch. Do you remember what she was saying? She just said, you know, Caitlyn said Tyler's a little sad that Butch might not make it or won't be here. He's like, yeah, you know, that's his dad. And that was said they really didn't focus much on it. They extremely jump over to Caitlyn's mom feeling the need to once again apologize for not being there for her. Wow. And I think that's big. You know, apologize as many times as you feel you need to. Maybe Caitlyn doesn't want to hear it, but I think it helps the mom out, and it also is a way of saying, no, I really am sorry. I don't just mean to say it once. Yeah. You know, and I could see that. I could see even when you're just doing it to a friend, when you really wake up from something that you just feel like, I am extremely sorry that I wasn't there. And imagine this is her mom. Yeah. And maybe this is mom growing up finally and realizing my daughter went through all that and I wasn't supportive. Instead, she basically judged her. She was the number 1 person aside from Butch that judged her. Yeah. Tough. Well, okay, so let's talk about Maci. Unless there was something, was there anything about Caitlyn? No. No, okay, let's talk about Maci. This one was, it wasn't fun to watch, but it was like, I kept thinking like, what in the world? I mean, so many points I was like, what are you saying? Why are you saying that? What are you thinking? Maci calls Ryan because Ryan's got a 1 week of vacation with Bentley. And he's taken, apparently they have a family trip every year to some beach. Okay. And he's taking Bentley. Macy's like talking to Kyle saying, I don't know if I can be apart from Bentley for a week. You know, I think I'll call Ryan and I'll see if he doesn't mind if I like go down and be in the same area and be available to babysit Bentley if he wants to go out and party. And we're all watching the show going, what? I mean, that's just you know, yeah, it sucks you don't get to see your kid for a week, but that's just part of it, you know? That's just part of it.
Part of it, right.
So when she called, and Kyle, he's over there playing with Bentley, and she's like, I think Macy was expecting him to have a problem with it. Like, it's almost like, to me, it's almost like she was saying, tell me I can't do it. Tell me I can't do it. Tell me it's not okay.
Tell me it bothers you. Please.
Yeah, tell me about it. And he's like, I don't care.
I
He
don't know
goes,
you do.
Yeah, do what you want. I mean, so she calls Ryan, and then Ryan, to me, he started out with the perfect answer. He's like, hey, it's just 1 week with me that I have my son. It's just only once a year.
Once a year.
And I don't want to share the time, which is fair for him to say.
Yes.
It's only 1 week. And, you know, so it seemed like he was going to start to say no. But, you know, he recognized that he can't control her, right? And so he even said, you know what? Because she was like, well, I don't want to intrude. She was being very nice about it.
You won't have to see me.
Yep. I don't want, and I'm like, how's that work?
As long as I don't have to see you.
Yeah. He's like, I guess that's fine then. Because she said, I just want to I'll be available in case you want to go out and not have to drag him along.
Right.
You know, for a couple hours or whatever. Right. And so he's like, okay, that'll be fine. To me, he was saying, that's fine. And by the way, I'm not going to call your ass.
Right.
You know, you're just going to be there and wish she was calling you.
Makes you feel it's good to say,
right.
when it can't stop you. That's what he says.
Right. And then he said, it's not like I can stop you from, you know, doing it. And when she said, who all's going? Oh, my mom, my dad, me, Bentley, and
another friend. Another guy friend's going too.
Oh, did he say guy friend?
Yeah.
And then the last one was, he said, and my girlfriend. And she, in front of her boyfriend, was like, I didn't know you had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you think?
She pauses.
Yeah. Did you think, is she jealous? Is she bothered by it? What do you think?
I mean, I definitely feel like in Macy's case, you know, Ryan does not care that she has a man, has never cared that she has a man.
Right.
And maybe I felt different in the past episodes, seasons, but in this one, you can straight out tell he doesn't care that she lives with him and he's there. He's like, anyways, but the minute he gets a girl, you can see Macy's. I mean, she paused and then said, I didn't know you had a girlfriend. Like, she was still something.
Right.
Like, he still belonged to her.
I felt that too, but then I thought, well, maybe it's just for Bentley's sake. Maybe she's just concerned about, is Bentley around another girl or something like that. You don't think that?
I don't think that, simply because, don't forget, he already had a girlfriend that he introduced.
Yeah.
To Bentley.
Could be. So I think I know, you know, she was going to talk to his parents about it too. I think maybe she said, I'm going to talk to your parents or whatever. But so he said, fine, whatever, I can't stop you.
Yeah.
You know.
And she does ask, will she be okay with it? He's like, well, I don't have to see you, right? Didn't you say that earlier?
Yeah, that's true. Is your girl going to have a problem? Because I don't have a problem.
I'm not going to see you. I mean.
No, if I don't have to see you, then there's no problem. So anyway, so she talks to the parents when she goes to drop off Bentley. Okay. And the mom and dad, they seem so cool now. You know, remember before they were just like all stressed out. But the mom is like, oh yeah, that's fine. You know, we don't have a problem with that. Yeah, it's cool. Did he tell you that he's bringing his girlfriend? and then remember you told me, she goes, oh, and she's really sweet. Macy must have been like, thanks a lot, lady.
Yeah.
For making me feel better. But I think, you know what? I think her mom's got a little bit of beef with Macy.
Yes.
Like, you know what? You didn't really do my son right. You've been an enemy of ours.
Yes.
You know, accusing him and you know, the whole, remember back when it was like, you know, Ryan felt pressured, like he needed to go to get a lawyer and stuff because she was threatening court. And I mean, she said some pretty, you know, strong stuff.
And the end of the relationship wasn't Ryan leaving. It was him pushing her to finally make a decision and say, I'm done. Yeah. So I think a lot of parents, when it's their own child that's in the middle, they don't want to see him as the bad guy. They never admitted that Ryan was, in a lot of times, the wrong one in the relationship, you know? So here it's like, you left my son. You didn't try hard enough. And then you have a man living with you first, because you're the one that moved on first. And then you try to take him to court. There's all this.
Yeah, and now you sitting here
And now he has the
with our
nice
grandchild. Yeah, exactly. Asking us if you come. Well, as long as you don't mind being around his nice girlfriend. Oh, and by the way, we also think it would be a good idea if you and Ryan and Bentley took a family picture.
But I love how Maci never mentions. I don't think that's possible because Ryan doesn't want to see me.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to be seen.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. That would be great.
And I'm thinking, what are they talking about? You know what? What it is, it's these parents that are these older people, more mature, seeing the future. And the future is when it's 10, 15, 20 years from now, it's not gonna matter who's seeing who. It's gonna only matter what the baby sees. And the baby is now he's not going to wish his parents were together anymore because it's going to have been 10, 15, 20 years. But he is going to want to see what they looked like when he was 5 and 7 and 9 and 10, you know. And so that to me is what their parents are doing. Although it doesn't work.
Don't confuse the child.
Yeah, it doesn't work to do it now because the parents are, you know, Macy and Ryan, they're not in that place. Right. But you know, I see what those parents are talking about.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, these are two of the teenagers on this show that had both mom and dad on Macy's side and Ryan's mom and dad. And don't forget, they used to all get together and have dinner and talk about what are you guys going through? Yeah. They were very supportive with their kids. As soon as they found out they were pregnant, they were always together.
Yes.
You know, all 6 of them.
Yeah. Until
the end. Once they broke up, that was it. So it's kind of a little weird to me, though, that they would want to do that. It's like, don't confuse Bentley. He is 2 at this point, but they're very smart. He knows they're not together. He knows Kyle's involved. Why confuse that and then make him wonder, well, where's Kyle? Yeah,
and Bentley's getting a lot better at saying goodbye and hello and coming to and from. He's getting a lot better at that. I mean, we've seen him go to daycare last week, and now, you know, for Kyle to, you know, be such a good fill-in man figure, father figure, whatever, and then be able to say to him now, hey, Bentley, you know, you're not going to see me. I'm going to miss you, and I'm going to miss you this much, you know, and Bentley's like, this much. Yeah. And he's like, bye, love you, you know. And, you know, it's just Bentley's getting better at it.
Right. And I understand the word, you know, being cordial around each other, but I think those are big events. Like, you know, Bentley's graduation, Bentley's wedding, Bentley's, you know.
Yeah, but the idea of taking, like, Ryan
Let's
and
go on vacation
Macy,
once a year.
Well, but the idea of Ryan and Macy and Bentley taking a picture together just seems
But she
so...
also says that should be something you guys do every
year.
Yeah, let's go on vacation every year.
She's just thinking about the future when it's not going to matter. She's not taking into effect what happens right now. And I'll say one more thing before we remind our users about how they can help us on iTunes. I don't understand how how Kyle drives the car he drives. I mean, Macy's car is nice too. It's a nice Jeep, right? Wasn't it a Jeep? I meant to look up how much the Brabus version of the Mercedes costs, but I want to say it's a lot. And that dude has one that's all tricked out with the headlights and the rims and the paint job, everything. And I just thought it was funny when they were going out to say goodbye to Bentley. He walked by his Mercedes, his red Brabus Mercedes.
Got in it.
I don't know. It's not for. I don't know. I wonder. But iTunes. For all of and iTunes would be for listeners because our podcasts are audio only, as all podcasts are. And what we also appreciate a lot, you can help out AfterBuzz. If you don't buy something on Amazon and you do that like we talked about before, so without having to buy anything, you can really help us out, and we really appreciate when you go to iTunes and you listen to our podcasts, that you take a minute and you rate and comment the podcasts. And I personally am interested in whatever comments you have. If you hate me or you hate Isabel or you hate, and I want to read the positive and the negative, and I've seen them, and there's been a lot of positive. You guys seem to like the show and you like what we do, so we appreciate that. But it only takes a minute. Tell a friend about it, and rate us and comment on iTunes, please. And the same for YouTube as well. That's always very helpful because that's where the video version of these AfterBuzz shows are. Anyway, last and not least, Farrah. Farrah in Florida, because she said, it took my dad 5 days to get all the way to Florida. I mean, how long was it supposed to take? Didn't it sound like a complaint?
Okay, Ed. Well, I want you to say everything that you think, because you want to make it sound like I'm the bad person, but that's because you don't want to speak up and say you think it will, ruin your chances of ever going out on a date with Farrah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is, I look at Farrah in the same way I look at how I was trying to make excuses for
16-year-old
Amber.
daughter. Oh, okay.
Like, okay, you didn't even want to date Amber, but I look at her the same way. Like, when I see this stuff, I want to understand, well, why? Which is why I am going to read her book, because she said she explains. And yes, from the very beginning, every time we've heard the disagreements with Amber and her mom and her dad and the way they talk to each other and the way Amber speaks to her, we have always not been a fan of that. And, I have always said, you know what, any disrespect to parents, I'm not in favor of. And we also agree that there's not really an excuse. But I think that maybe we'll understand it better when we read her book.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's much to understand. We saw the mom last season trying to kill her, trying to stab her. If I had a daughter that's 24/7, basically behind my back, calling me a bitch, always, or even sometimes to her face, at some point, yeah, I want to stab you.
That's not funny.
But
That's not funny.
I mean, I know that I do believe, and we know this, the mom needed some therapy. We don't know what ever happened to the mom in her life. Oh, this is stuck somewhere.
Oh yeah, it's wrapped around twice.
There. But every time I see Farrah's dad,
yes,
who
has never done anything wrong
that we know of. Yeah. I mean, at least we know the mom tried to stab her, or whatever the story was behind that, because we don't really know.
Right.
That poor dad. There's always something wrong.
Yeah.
In her mind, there's always something wrong.
Well, yeah, it seems like, Farrah, it seems like she's easily annoyed.
Yes.
And we say easily, like I said, because, we don't know what else is happening. What other reason is she so quick to be annoyed?
Well, right.
But that's what I think, her book, My Teenage Dream, ended August 15th. And I'm plugging it for her. You can buy it on Amazon. You can go to AfterBuzz TV, click all that stuff. Because I intend to buy it, and read it and get a better understanding. But we've got to read it because she's, once they show the little clip on TV, she's already totally annoyed with her dad, and we're wondering why.
And she doesn't have to say anything. Yeah. Her facial expressions speak for themselves.
Yeah.
And, we got to interview Farrah here, and I was very amazed with everything that she's doing. Yeah. And she really opened my eyes to a lot of things that I've been liking off on. I was like, wow, you've been doing so much,
Yep.
But, watching these episodes, it's like seeing two different people. So as I'm watching this episode, and it's really bothering me, like, I don't want to sit here and lie and say, you're great because when I met you, I liked you. No, I went ahead and did some, first of all, I never got to ask her if that was her real dad, which is what a few of our viewers have questioned.
Right,
we all
because
questioned.
she calls him Michael.
Right. So I went ahead and did a little research. It is her dad. And, a lot of the tabloids said because he was always supporting the mom.
Yeah.
And while she was dating Sophia's dad, and were, okay with her being apart from him or whatever the issue.
And when she slapped her.
Right. She felt betrayed. She started calling him Michael.
Yeah.
But then there's another story as to, we know that Farrah has a stepsister who's split by mom, not by Michael.
Yes.
So there's another story that claims that because out of respect to her sister,
right,
she calls Michael
Michael,
so that
everybody in the house was calling him the same thing.
Right, so she wouldn't feel like she didn't have a dad.
Yeah, we didn't ask her. We don't know. You got that stuff, which is exactly why we have AfterBuzz, to bring the stuff up and talk about it.
But even then, I mean, we see it's like if you really dislike someone or you really feel like your parents weren't supportive, then why make them drive 5 days?
Yeah.
To take your stuff, because you decided to move away from them.
Yeah.
I feel like when you are growing up and trying to prove to anybody, especially your parents, that you're an adult. You take care of things yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't use them to your convenience.
Well, it's true. I mean, she is upset when she's talking to her dad, and he's saying stuff that we look at it from our perspective, and we look at it, and it looks like he's just really saying caring stuff. He's saying, you know, hey, I'm thinking about trying to be out here more and moving and working out here and living out here because I want to be close to Sophia. What do you have planned for this? What do you have planned for that? You know,
it's
and
like he's almost afraid.
Yeah, but I feel like he asks it, and I don't feel like he's afraid, but she's really like, can you stop trying to tell me what to do? Can you stop? And we don't understand why she's so annoyed at this because it doesn't look like it's that bad.
Right.
But what I do see is that, you know, when she's with her parents, the exchange that they have is usually them always, they do frequently offer advice. And they do say, you should do this. Oh, have you done this? Make sure you do this. Like, then she was talking to her mom on the phone. And she was, you know.
Okay, but you're a dad. When don't you offer advice? When you speak to your son?
I know. Hey.
When?
Believe me, I know.
And I know our parents are there for us to take our frustrations on because it usually happens like that. You know, my mom can say, wear blue. That looks great on you. I'd be like, whatever, you don't know anything. And then I can turn around and you can say, Isabel, wear blue. It looks great. Oh, yeah, really? I'm going to start wearing blue.
Right.
Only because someone else said it.
We do.
It's not
different.
mom or dad.
It is. Yeah. It's very different.
Even here, it's like they have been trained by her because the minute she gets all upset because he asks, what are your plans? He still calms down and says, I was just asking you because it's coming from a caring place. Like, I was just asking you.
Yeah, he says, I just want you to share with
like
me
she's training
your
them.
plans. I want you to share with me your plans. And he said, Farrah, I'm coming to you from a very loving place.
Like, I'm not, just a reminder.
Exactly. But, she's definitely upset. She gets her conversation with her mom. She's returning her mom's call. And, her mom immediately starts talking about, her concerns about the baby. And, she's like, well, there's, remember, because Farrah's looking for a nanny. Yeah. She's like, well, you have to be careful who you get. And she's saying some stuff that's very obvious. Like, of course, any mom who cares about their child is going to do some basic things. Right. And Farrah, to me, she had said to her mom something like, she had already talked to the police station to check the crime area in the area of the nanny, or she was going to or whatever. And I thought, that's a great idea. Right. I actually probably wouldn't have done that myself. I know. I wouldn't have thought to do that, but I thought that's a great idea. And then her mom said, oh, you can also go to this website.
And we see her actually like agreeing with mom. She's like, oh, I'm going on it now. It was like a nice interaction. Like, oh my God. Right.
But it was the extra stuff that her mom was saying that she was like, Mom, of course I'm going to do this. And of course I'm not going to do that. And please, can you please just say, this was a big important thing that Farrah said. When she was talking about the classes, and Farrah was describing was listening to classes that she's taking, and they were just like, basic general education. Her mom immediately said, "Oh well, Farrah, you could have taken those here anywhere." Yeah. Now all of a sudden I understood, because when what can frustrate a person, if you want to frustrate a person, you tell them that something that about them is wrong, that they can't change quickly. Right. Like, okay, so her mom is complaining that she could have taken this class anywhere, which really means you didn't have to move when you did. You didn't have to take my granddaughter away from me. Right. You didn't have to do that. That's all what's not actually said, but being communicated.
And and I think it's a little selfish. It is a little selfish. And I think for somebody that's still very hurt about whatever drama they had with baby daddy, it's kind of like, don't forget, Sophia wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. Yes. Who you took me away from.
Yes. And I really think that this was a really good peek into what's going on inside Farrah's head, and that is that all the unspoken communication that we don't hear, Farrah hears it. And it's been built up for so many years that maybe she even hears it when the parents are not saying it. Right. Like, she's listening to Michael sitting there at lunch with him, and he's saying these caring things, but actually she's hearing a bunch of stuff he's not saying, which is, you're not doing a good job, and you need me to tell you, otherwise you won't do a good job. And that's where she feels like, can you just tell me, hey, good job, keep up the good work. You know, her mom, she told her mom, can't you just say okay and then move on to my classes?
Yeah.
Why do you have to say that? Yeah. So that one was a big deal. And it made me, you know, so maybe that's what we'll hear more of when it comes to her book. But she doesn't look too excited. She even tells the camera, the audience, the whole reason for me to move Florida was to be on my own. I'm not really crazy about the idea of my dad moving out.
Right, because Michael at some point mentions, I was thinking, how about I moved down here and I can look for a job and I can be near Sophia and, I want to be part of Sophia's life and...
Yes, exactly. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to break from Farrah. We're going to go to commercial. When we come back, we're going to talk about the puppy, the fish, and the sister.
Hey there, good buddies. The handle's Woolly Bear. I'm a truck driving man, but I'm not that old school kind of truck driving man, no. I like to listen to podcasts while I'm driving through these great United States of ours. And my favorite podcasts in the world are from AFTERBUZZ TV. And why? Because AFTERBUZZ TV is like a post-game wrap-up show for all your favorite TV shows, like Jersey Shore, Dancing with the Stars, Mad Men, and a whole truckload more. I like listening to my Gossip Girl podcast, catching up with all my fellow fans and getting all the latest news and gossip. No, I got some strong opinions. And AFTERBUZZ TV lets me share those opinions with thousands of other listeners. Woo-wee, what a feeling. I used to doze off on those lonely stretches of road. And don't worry, I got the cruise control. But now I'm wide awake and listening to all the AFTERBUZZ TV goodness. Check them out. Give them a holler. And tell them the old Woolly Bear sent you.
That's funny.
I want to know who did that voice, that live read, that recorded read commercial there. That was great. What his name was? Woolly something? Woolly somebody sent you?
Woolly Bear.
Woolly Bear. Thank you, Marissa Movies, in the studio.
Somebody sent
in the booth.
Is that what you said?
I don't know what I said.
Oh, you're so racist.
I just kind of say stuff.
Racist.
I'm a racist now?
Okay, let's go on.
Okay. Oh, now you're in charge of the show. No, okay, so basically the other stuff we saw with Farrah, and MTV sets us up for this stuff. We were watching it take Sophia in to get a pet. And she was so totally smart about it. She's like, we're going in, we can't really handle anything serious in pets. We're going to start out with something that's totally easy. We're going to go get a fish. We're going to go get a fish. We're going to get a fish. We're going to get a fish. And they go and they're looking at the fish. And Sophia's like...
Well, before they look at the fish,
well, they walk by the dogs. And she's like, ooh.
Puppies.
Let me, and they're cute dogs. And then she picks one to come out and play with them. Can we see this one? And I'm like, why are you looking at the dog, dude?
Yeah.
Why are you looking at the dog?
You know what? I worked at a pet store, and that's the first thing you want to do. You want to get the client to say, can you take it out to play? Because then once they play with it, that's it.
Chances they're going to buy it.
They didn't even have to do that. She was
she's like, can I see this one? So the puppy's really cute, playing with the baby, blah, blah, blah. And then they go and they're going to pick the fish.
Right. She says, if we don't find a fish, we'll come get the puppy.
And this is the funniest thing in the world. Now all of a sudden, Sophia's the wise one. And Farrah's like, so here's the fishes. And she goes, so do you want a fish or a puppy? And Sophia says, fish. Mm-hmm. And she goes, I think that's a mistake.
Over a puppy.
You sure you want a fish over a puppy? She said, fish.
Right.
She's like, okay, well, this is it. This is last chance. Do you want a fish or puppy? She said, fishy.
Well,
and she said, I want that one.
Sophia looks at her.
Oh yeah, she puts her hand on her shoulder.
Her and
she says, fishy.
Fishy. Like, I mean, maybe you haven't been listening.
Like, I don't know. It's gonna be the same answer every time, Mom. Fishy.
And I've already picked one. That one.
I want that fishy. And so she's like, if Farrah's like, okay, let's get the dog. And she was saying, I know that it wasn't what Sophia wanted, but I think she's gonna love the dog. Yes, we love the dog. Yeah, everybody loves the dog. I love the dog, but that don't mean I want to have the dog or that I should. Anyway, then to finish it all off, Farrah talks to her sister, which was to me a refreshing sort of look.
Yes,
because her sister was totally in support of Farrah and was like, don't forget, our parents will try to run you. They will try to do things. And remember, you're the parent. You're the mom. And again, it just is something that let me, here is an outside person, sort of outside, you know, still in the family, but sort of outside.
Yeah, because we don't see her much around the
looking
parents,
into the relationship between Farrah and her parents and saying, you got to stand up for yourself. Don't let them control you. And I'm like, wow, what is it that we're not seeing that's so bad? Well, because it looks like they've got a couple of parents that are caring, concerned, and provide.
Well, I mean, I would say the dad, because ever since the mom did that and it was all over the news and we saw that and we still don't know what really happened to her. All we know is when the cops showed up, she had a knife and we didn't put it down, and Farrah was calling the cops, you know, like, she's trying to stab me. So I know mom needs help, but if there's anything that I've always supported about Farrah and of all of them is that she is one person that we don't ever see her with friends. Yeah. We've never seen her apart from Sophia except when she's in school. Yeah. And that's one thing that I've always said, you know, as a mom, she's always been around her daughter. Always. So, and I don't think that's why it's a little confusing to me when she's trying to argue with Michael about, are you trying to say I'm not a good mom? Because I don't think they've ever been able to say that. She's never even left Sophia.
Remember, she's hearing the things they're not saying. It's like she's conditioned. It's like they're a relationship that's used to arguing all the time. And so when they're not arguing, one of them still thinks they're arguing.
Right. So I don't know, you know, if when the sister says, don't forget our parents, they mean mom, because it looks like mom has run everyone out of her life, including Michael. We know that they've divorced now, separated, and they're not together. So she's obviously, you know.
Too bad. So we're not going to do predictions. We are going to do news and gossip if I can get the fancy. Oh,
AfterBuzz TV News.
Can we get the? Yeah. Oh, Marissa Movies is on it. So our one little bit of news and gossip is that Caitlyn, in an effort to, actually I want to say two things. In an effort to lose weight, has joined Weight Watchers. We haven't seen any commercials or anything with her on it, but apparently she's lost weight. We saw some pictures online.
She looks good and healthy.
She's looked healthy and slimmer, which we're glad about. And apparently she's not pregnant, like In Touch magazine reported. And that I totally believed until Isabel told me that don't ever believe anything In Touch magazine says.
Right.
So on the newsstands right now, you see In Touch magazine says she's pregnant and gonna have a baby, and we're keeping it this time. And you got, was it People? People magazine also says Caitlyn on the cover saying not pregnant. I'm not pregnant.
It wouldn't be fair to Carly.
To Carly. Oh, and then what was I gonna say? But I didn't want to say. Oh, I said they. Oh, that's just bad. I said it's not fair to Carly if they ever have a baby. Because what are you trying to say? You know, never mind. So, anyway, that's it from Encino, California. This is Ed Bowling.
Isabel Mora.
You can tweet me.
Hurry.
We got time. You can tweet me to @EdBowling. And Isabel, if you can even remember.
Oh my God, it's the ISSY 360.
Oh, look, she had to think about it. So please tweet the hell out of her. Just bombard her with tweets so she can remember her own Twitter name.
Right.
And that's it. We will see you back next week. I think, I don't have the schedule yet, but I think it's 7 o'clock. No, 7:30. We're going to do Awkward, and then we're going to do Teen Mom at 8. This is Pacific Standard Time. So plan to tune in at 7:30 for the Awkward After Show. Next week is the premiere, next Thursday. We're very excited. We are going to be bringing you some of the actual actors and actresses that are on that show in studio. We've got conversations going with at least 3 of them. So we're very excited about that. Awkward and Teen Mom at 8 o'clock. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.